Jeff was diagnosed with Ewing sarcoma as a sophomore at Sandwich High School. He was 16 years old and he was struggling with pain in his thigh, and we thought it was a strained muscle. In fact, we went to the doctors and they told us it was a strained muscle. So the pain kept getting worse, and the treatment, which they said take Bengay, rub it with Bengay and take some, wasn't affecting the symptoms at all. So we then took him to not oncologist. We took him to a doctor in Hyannis, or an orthopedic surgeon, and he sent him for an MRI. And the MRI was taken. They told us to go home. They gave me a copy of the MRI, and I looked at it, and almost from his knee to his groin was a mass. And I thought, this can't be. And they called that same day and they said, we want to see you this afternoon. Can you come in? And I said, well, what did the doctor see? Why don't you come in and we'll discuss it. So he told us that it was bone cancer, and that he had a close friend, a doctor that he knew up in Boston at Brigham and Women's, Dr. Reddy, and that Jeff needed to see him right away. They were trying to determine what type of cancer he had, and it was a scary time. And then we found out it had metastasized to his lungs and made his chances of survival that much, worse. And so, he was going to survive it. I was determined, and this story takes the reader on our 2-year journey battling the disease, and what is important to me when you read the story is learning who Jeff was, because he was such a good kid that I didn't want people to forget who he was.
Jeff's a warrior. I mean, Jeff is the coach's dream of a player.
He takes the treatments like a man. I mean, he never once complains about it.
Jeff Hayes, I want to say that your dedication's been unbelievable. It's just great to see you showing up to every game in practice.
Yeah, it'll be good if we win.
He was he was a good athlete, but he was quiet and humble. And he was a leader. Without his knowledge, he was a leader, and without my knowledge. He had so many friends, and we had an entire community that supported us those entire 2 years, even after.
Tonight's game is being played with heavy hearts by the Blue Knights of Sandwich. This past Wednesday evening, the bravest knight of all lost his 2.5-year battle to cancer. Senior number 12, Jeff Hayes, was loved by his family, his teammates, and the entire hockey community.
The hockey families, one of the hockey moms, organized Sunday dinners and everything that we needed. She said that the town just couldn't do enough for you. So to know that when you're driving home from Boston after a week long of treatment and driving over the bridge, and you know that you're going to have that support, it's great comfort. This is a true story. He talks about knowing Jeff from when he was in kindergarten and who his best friends are, and what kind of a kid he was, and how much we're going to miss him, and all the the reaction to the kids the day he died in school, and so it gives the reader right off, because one of them says, I hear the angels have a sweet slap shot. I started writing, and then I went from my manuscript to sitting in with a writer's group who would give me guidance and confidence to write the story. And they just encouraged me, keep writing, keep writing, keep writing. And they felt that the honesty in the story and the story itself was a very worthy project and wanted me to keep going. They have held my hand through the hard parts. It was like going from a community that supported us through the 2 years of treatment, that lifted us up and made us feel comfortable and that we weren't alone. Then when we lost Jeff, I moved right from the community into the Sandwich Group, where they made me feel, they made me feel like I could heal through this process. And telling the story and getting it out, and during the hard parts, they would hold my hand or they would cry. And I didn't know anybody in that group. They knew the story, they knew of me, and I sat there, they were strangers, and I read my story with them. It gave me great confidence. I was like, oh, I want to do this, and if they feel that I can accomplish this and write this story, then I'm all in. I couldn't have gotten this far without them, without their advice. It took me 6 years to write it, and I work full time. And so I was writing at night and on weekends, and then there's always life in between there. Because the story is bedside. You're walking behind me, so you're hearing and you're seeing and you're feeling everything that I felt, and so it's very private. I felt I could go on and tell this story, and I could write a tribute to Jeff and that people wouldn't forget him. And that was very important to me. That message in there is that people are kind, people are generous, and the Bruins it was their first year that they were going to ride in the PMC. So they had contacted the Dana-Farber and Jimmy Fund looking for a pedal partner. Pedal partner inspires the riders, gives them more reason to ride. Well, Jeff was a hockey fan and a Bruins fan right away. I mean, he's 5 years old and he's skating and he has Bruins everything. And we were going through treatment, and I got an email from Dr. Sam Blackman, that's Jeff's oncologist, and he said, the Bruins are looking for a pedal partner. Enormous smile comes over his face. He doesn't say anything, he just smiles. And Sam says, I know from experience, I know that smile, that's a Jeff Hayes, I'm really excited smile. But with Jeff, it wasn't just a one-day visit. It was from the time we met him till now, because they still support the Jeff Hayes Memorial Hockey Tournament. They still ride for him in the Pam Mass Challenge 10 years, and on their bike shirt in a red heart are the initials JH. And they stop at the end of our street Sunday morning, the second day of the ride, and for a group picture, and they stop there every single year, and then they go on their way. And it's absolutely amazing that they still, after all this time, still do that.
Day 2 started early for the Bruins team, but just 15 miles in, they got a huge lift with a visit to their pedal partner, Jeff Hayes, and his family.
It's great to see Jeff and his whole family and friends and relatives out, and all along the way.
And obviously we were looking forward to it yesterday, riding the whole way, knowing that in the morning we were going to get a chance to stop with Jeff and his family, and really sharing the day and what this thing is all about.
There's a lot of motivation along the route. There's a lot of people waving, saying hello, but we're dedicating this one to Jeff.
It's been awesome. It's really exciting. I mean, I watch these guys on TV and couldn't imagine just meeting them in real life, and then here I am today just meeting them and seeing them ride for me. It's just awesome.
My story, Twelfth Knight, went live on Amazon on December 11th, 2015. It's available on Amazon, still is, and it's sold locally at Tickham's Bookstore. And those are the two places so far. We just went live, just self-published it. A portion of the proceeds to benefit childhood and adolescent cancer. I'd like to sell enough books to make a difference. I think that writing is a great way to heal. I think that that's what's helped me get this far. And it was hard to stop, because that means I started writing just to stay connected, to be with him longer. I wasn't ready to let him go, and now that I'm finished, it's yes, and the story's out there, but I now have to let it go, and that's hard. That's hard. But I think he would give us all a smile, because he had an extraordinary smile that you knew that he was filled with joy when he smiled, and it just replaced his words not spoken. I'm grateful for the courage people may find in purchasing and reading the story. He was something else.
At this time, I ask you to stand for a moment of silence in memory of number 12 on the ice and number 1 in our hearts, Jeff Hayes.